Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being instantly well-informed. Today, we're diving deep into a place that's, well, bit of a paradox, isn't it? London.
Definitely. Global cultural heavyweight on one side.
Right, palaces, museums, theater.
Exactly. World-class everything. But then the other side is that reputation for being just eye-wateringly expensive.
Mercilessly expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
The premium price challenge, as it's known.
It really is. You know, the cost of a pint or a hotel, even just hopping on the tube, it can make you pause, right?
Totally. So we've got loads of data here for 2025 costs, transit details, all that. But our real mission today isn't just, listing prices.
Yeah.
It's tackling that big question. Are those amazing London experiences actually worth the steep price tag? And crucially, if they are, how do you actually pull it off? What are the tactics you need?
Well, I think we can say pretty confidently the value is there. Definitely. And it's big, but you absolutely have to be strategic about it.
Okay, strategic how?
You've got to use two things together. First, you really lean into the stuff that's free. And London has this almost unbelievable amount of free world-class culture, those big national museums especially.
Right, the British Museum, National Gallery.
Exactly. That's your foundation.
Yeah.
And second, you absolutely have to get your head around London's transport system, specifically the fare capping.
Ah, the capping.
Master that. Because
Yeah.
if you don't nail both of those, the free culture and the smart transit, yeah, your trip costs are going to balloon fast.
Got it. So that's our plan then. We'll break down the real daily costs, what you can expect. We'll really dig into that transit system. Sounds like it's the key financial lever.
It really is.
We'll do the pass math, figure out if those attraction passes actually save you money, and then wrap it all up with a clear verdict and those practical tips.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, let's jump in. Let's face those numbers head on.
Okay, first things first, we need to set some expectations. Because, expensive can mean different things to different people.
Yeah, fair point.
So for 2025, we've basically got three main budget levels worked out.
Okay, give us the ranges. Let's start at the bottom. What does a real budget trip look like? What kind of discipline are we talking?
Right. So if you're a proper budget traveler, hostels, hitting the markets for food, being really strict about paid attractions, you're probably aiming for somewhere around, say, 70 to 100 pounds per day.
70 pounds to 100 pounds per day.
70 pounds to 100 pounds a day. In London. That sounds tight, but maybe doable.
It's doable, but yeah, it's tight. It means almost zero splurging, like supermarket sandwiches, maybe walking a lot more.
I have to ask, though, at that 70 pounds end, are you really getting the London experience people travel for? Or are you mostly just, focused on not spending money?
That's a really good question. And yeah, that budget relies heavily on those free museums we mentioned. It's tough. If you want a bit more comfort, maybe a hotel that's fairly central, perhaps you want to see one show, have a few decent pub dinners.
Right. The things people actually want to do in London.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then you immediately jump up. You're in the mid-range category. And that's looking more like 150 to 200 pounds per day.
Wow, okay. That's a big jump. Almost double the low end.
It is. And then, if you're going high-end, nice hotels, top restaurants, hitting lots of the paid sites, you're easily looking at 250 pounds, probably more per day.
250 pounds plus. Okay.
But here's the really interesting bit, I think. Based on the data we've seen, the average spend, what most people actually end up spending, often without really planning to.
Yeah.
It often goes over 175 pounds a day, all in.
Over 175 pounds average. Wow. Okay, so that really highlights the need for that strategy you mentioned. If the average person is spending that much, probably accidentally.
Exactly. It shows how easily costs can creep up if you're not actively managing them. Optimization isn't just nice to have. For most people, it's essential if you don't want a shock when you get the credit card bill.
And I bet a huge chunk of that comes down to where you stay, accommodation.
Oh, absolutely. Lodging is usually the biggest single cost. And in London, centrality costs a lot. Even at the budget end, a hostel bed is going to be, 25 to 45 pounds?
Which is, okay for a hostel, but still.
Still adds up. And once you want your own room, even a basic budget hotel, maybe slightly outside the very center, say Zone 2,
Yeah.
you're looking at 90 to 140 pounds a night, minimum.
Okay. So if I want that bit more comfort and I want to be central, which seems important for using that transit system efficiently, where do the prices really start to climb?
Yeah, that's where it gets steep. Mid-range hotels in good locations, think South Kensington, or maybe somewhere with quick tube access, like near the Jubilee line. You're typically in the 140 pounds to 220 pound bracket.
140 pounds to 220 pounds.
Oh, okay.
And if you're aiming for luxury or you want to be right in the thick of it near the West End theaters, or a major station like King's Cross, yeah, £300 a night is just the start. It easily goes higher. So this brings up that classic trade-off, doesn't it? Location versus price. Let's say I find a cheaper hotel, maybe £100 a night, but it's out in Zone 3. I've saved £50 compared to £150 Zone 1 hotel. Have I actually saved money overall?
Probably not, actually. It's a false economy a lot of the time.
How so?
Well, that £50 you saved on the room, it often gets eaten up by two things: your time and higher travel costs. London's tube is great, but commuting 30 minutes each way, that's an hour of your sightseeing day gone every day.
Yeah, good point. Time is money on a short trip.
Exactly. And more directly, staying out in Zone 3 often means you pay more for your daily travel because you're outside the standard Zone 1-2 fare cap area. We'll get into the exact cap numbers later, but the key thing is that cheaper hotel might actually cost you more once you factor in the extra tube fares.
Ah,
So for most people on a typical, say, 5-day trip, paying a bit more for that Zone 1 or Zone 2 location is usually worth it. You save time and you lock in that lower daily transport cost.
right. So pay for centrality to save time and control travel costs. Makes sense. Okay, let's move to the next big expense. Food. London's food scene is amazing, but finding good value can be, tricky.
Tricky is an understatement. Dining out can absolutely wreck an unplanned budget. If you're eating out 3 meals a day in restaurants, you'll blow past that 175 average spend without even trying.
So what are we talking cost-wise? Like a typical pub meal?
Your classic main fish and chips, pie and mash, that sort of thing will probably set you back 12 to 20 pounds, which is, okay for lunch. But do that every day.
It adds up. And dinner, if you want something a bit nicer than pub grub.
Yeah, mid-range dinners are where the real financial damage happens if you're not careful. Sitting down in a decent, not even super fancy restaurant, you're often looking at 25 to 40 pounds just for the main course.
Ouch. And that's before drinks, starters, service charge.
Exactly. You and a partner do that for 5 nights. You've easily spent hundreds, maybe close to £1,000 just on dinner without realizing it.
Okay, scary. So what's the strategy? How do you eat well without spending a fortune across all budget levels?
The number one strategy for everyone, really, is breaking the habit of 3 sit-down meals a day. Maximize self-catering where possible, and definitely use lunch specials in markets.
Right. So for the 70 pounds a day budget person.
That means hitting the supermarkets, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose if you're feeling handsy for breakfast, maybe packed lunches. Then maybe 1 meal out per day, like a pub lunch or grabbing something amazing from a food market. That's your splurge.
And for the mid-range traveler, the 150, 200 pounds person.
For them, the key is relying heavily on London's incredible food markets for lunch. Places like Borough Market, Broadway Market, Maltby Street. You can get fantastic, filling, high-quality food for much less than the sit-down restaurant lunch.
And it's part of the experience too, right?
Absolutely. It's fun, it's delicious, and it saves you a packet. Doing that for lunch means you can then afford to maybe pick 1 or 2 nights for a really nice dinner, rather than feeling like you have to eat expensively every single night.
Discipline. Okay, let's put some concrete numbers on this. A typical 5-day trip, let's say, excluding flights. What's the total cost difference between that super disciplined budget traveler and the more typical mid-range person?
The difference is massive. It really shows the power of optimization. That 5-day super budget traveler sticking rigidly to hostels, market, and supermarket food, only free museums, they can potentially do the whole trip for somewhere between 275 and 590 pounds.
275 to 590 pounds for 5 days. That takes serious effort, but wow.
It does, but it's achievable. Now compare that to the more typical mid-range traveler. Maybe they get a reasonably central hotel, took the odd taxi when tired, pay entry for 2 or 3 big attractions, eat out most nights.
Yeah, the sort of trip many people end up having if they don't plan meticulously.
That person,
Yeah.
their 5-day total is often landing somewhere between 950 pounds and 550 pounds.
Whoa, 950 to 1,550 pounds compared to maybe 600 pounds max on the budget end. That gap is huge.
It's huge. And that's the whole point of this deep dive. The Fathos 115-pound person isn't necessarily having a better time. They've just, they pay the premium for convenience and maybe a lack of specific planning.
Right. The London convenience tax. Okay, the lesson is crystal clear. London rewards planners and punishes the unprepared wallet. So now we know the costs. Let's talk about the single biggest tool for controlling them, mastering that transit system.
Okay, London transport. It's kind of this beautiful paradox, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, it's incredibly efficient. It gets you pretty much anywhere you need to go. But if you pay for every single journey individually, buying single tickets, It's actually really expensive, punishingly so.
Right, I've heard single-tube fares are quite high.
They are, and this is the crucial part, the system is specifically set up to reward people who use it frequently and smartly. And it does that through fare capping, using either a contactless bank card or an Oyster card.
Fare capping. Okay, this is the game changer you mentioned.
Absolutely. This is what keeps travel within the central part of the city affordable. It fundamentally shifts that "is London worth it" calculation towards a yes if you use it right.
So it basically stops you from spending an infinite amount on travel each day, no matter how many times you hop on and off the tube or buses.
Exactly. It turns unpredictable travel costs into a fixed, predictable daily maximum, which is brilliant for budgeting. Let's get into the specific numbers people need for 2025, especially for travel within zones 1 and 2, which is where most visitors spend their time.
Okay, hit me with the key figures.
Right. The absolute most important number to burn into your brain is the daily cap for zones 1-2. For 2025, that is £8.90.
£8.90. Okay, and what does that mean practically?
It means once you've made enough journeys using the same contactless card or device within zones 1 and 2 to spend £8.90 in a single day.
Oh, like maybe 3 or 4 tube trips?
Yeah, something like that. After you hit that £8.90 spend, any further journeys you make within those zones on that same day using that same card were completely free until about 4:30 a.m. the next morning when the system resets.
Wow, okay. £8.90 for potentially unlimited travel all day within central London. That actually sounds like really good value.
It is genuinely excellent value. It completely removes that mental calculation of, oh, should I take the tube or walk to save money?
Mm-hmm.
You just tap and go, knowing you won't pay more than £8.90. It makes sightseeing so much more fluid.
Yeah, I can see how that encourages you to just hop on for even short journeys. Brilliant.
It really does. So
Yeah.
you could, go to the British Museum in the morning, tube down to the South Bank for lunch, maybe tube over to Kensington for the V&A in the afternoon. Still only £8.90 total for transport. That predictability is gold.
Okay, daily cap, £8.90. Got it. What about the weekly cap? I've heard about that too.
Yep, there's also a weekly cap for zones 1-2. That's set at £44.70 for 2025.
£44.70 for a whole week. Okay, that sounds even better if you're there for a full week, but I sense there's a catch. You mentioned pitfalls earlier.
Ah, yes. The weekly cap. This is where things get a bit more nuanced, and it's honestly the single most common point of confusion for visitors. It catches so many people out.
How so? What's the catch?
The catch is how the week is defined. That £44.70 cap runs strictly Monday morning to Sunday evening. It's a fixed calendar week. It is not a rolling 7-day period from when you first arrive.
Okay, that is crucial. So let's say I arrive on a Wednesday and I leave the following Tuesday. That's 7 days. Do I get the weekly cap?
Nope. In that scenario, Wednesday arrival, Tuesday departure, you will not hit the £44.70 weekly cap.
So what happens instead?
Instead, the system will just apply the daily cap. You'll pay up to £8.90 on Wednesday, up to £8.90 on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then, because Monday starts a new charging week, you'll pay up to £8.90 on Monday and again on Tuesday.
So I'd end up paying potentially 7 times £8.90, which is way more than £44.70.
Exactly. You'd likely end up paying around £62.30 in that scenario, relying purely on the daily caps. The weekly cap only saves you money if your stay neatly fits within that Monday to Sunday window, or if you travel so much on those specific days that hitting the £44.70 cap early in the week makes sense.
Wow. Okay, everyone listening needs to check their arrival and departure days against that Monday-Sunday rule. Don't just assume a 7-day trip gets the weekly rate.
Please don't. It's such an easy mistake to make and cost people money unnecessarily. So that's pitfall number 1, the fixed week. Pitfall number 2 is something called card clash.
Card clash sounds ominous.
It can be. It leads to people getting charged maximum fares or their caps just not working at all. I've had some real horror stories.
Okay, explain card clash. What is it and how do we avoid it?
Card clash happens when the yellow card reader on the tube gate or bus detects more than one contactless payment method at the same time when you tap.
How would that happen?
The most common way is people tapping their whole wallet, or maybe their phone case against the reader. And inside that wallet or case, they might have their main contactless bank card, but also maybe a second credit card, a debit card, even an old Oyster card they forgot about.
Ah, okay. And the reader gets confused about which card to charge.
Pretty nicely. It detects multiple signals, gets confused, and often fails to register a proper tap-in or tap-out for any of them correctly. This causes 2 big problems.
Which are?
First, you might get charged the maximum possible fare, which can be quite high on both cards, because the system thinks neither card completed a journey properly. It assumes you failed to tap out.
Ouch.
Second, and this is crucial for capping, if you accidentally tap in with card A and then accidentally tap out with card B later, well, card A's journey is never completed, and card B's journey never started. The system can't link them. So again, you risk maximum charges on both cards, and crucially, those partial journeys won't count towards your daily or weekly cap.
So the cap doesn't work.
Exactly, you'll lose the benefit entirely.
Okay, the solution sounds simple then, if potentially annoying.
It is simple. The absolute golden rule. Only present one card or device to the reader. Take the specific card you intend to use out of your wallet or purse to tap it. If you're using your phone, like Apple Pay or Google Pay, make sure there isn't another contactless card tucked into the back of the phone case right near the chip.
One card, one tap. Consistency.
Consistency is everything. Pick one payment method for your whole trip, one specific card or your phone, and use only that. Making sure it's isolated when you tap, that's your best defense against card clash, and ensuring your caps work correctly.
Got it. Keep other cards well away from the reader. Okay, so we've got this fantastic capping system for zones 1 and 2, but what happens if I want to do a classic day trip, say Windsor Castle or maybe Oxford?
Right, good question. As soon as you travel outside the designated TFL zones covered by the Oyster Contactless system, which includes most popular day trip destinations like Windsor, Oxford, Cambridge, Brighton, the capping system stops. It doesn't apply.
So those journeys are priced differently.
Completely differently. You're moving on to the National Rail Network, not Transport for London's network. The pricing works much more like traditional train tickets.
Which means spontaneity gets expensive.
Very expensive. Unlike the tube where you can just tap and go knowing the cap will protect you, buying a national rail ticket on the day, especially for peak travel times, can be incredibly pricey.
So planning ahead is key for day trips.
Absolutely essential. To save money on these longer rail journeys outside London, you need to look at buying advance purchase tickets online, often weeks or months ahead. These can be significantly cheaper, but they usually lock you into a specific train time. No flexibility.
Okay, advance tickets. What about rail cards? I hear about those too.
Yes, national rail cards can be a good option if you plan on making several rail journeys, or maybe one very expensive one. They cost about £30 up front for a year, but typically give you a 13% discount on off-peak fares. You need to do the math to see if the upfront cost of the rail card will be offset by the savings on the specific trips you plan to take.
So for just one day trip, advance booking is probably the way. For multiple trips, maybe a rail card.
That's generally the rule of thumb, yeah. Compare advance fares first, then see if a rail card makes sense based on your total planned rail travel outside the TFL zones.
Okay, we've tackled the cost basics. We've hopefully demystified the crucial transit system. Now let's get to the fun part with the actual experiences. This is where London really throws down the gauntlet against its own high price tag, right? Particularly with the museums.
This is absolutely London's trump card, the free museum core.
Mm.
Honestly, it's the single biggest argument for why London is ultimately worth the cost, despite everything else.
So just how good is this free offering?
It's staggering. I mean, think about it. You could walk into the British Museum, see the Rosetta Stone, Egyptian mummies, incredible history. Then you could head over to the National Gallery in Trafalgar Square, stand in front of masterpieces by Van Gogh, Turner, Monet. Then maybe down to the Tate Modern on the South Bank for huge contemporary works. And finish off at the V&A in South Kensington, exploring centuries of design and fashion.
And all of those, zero entry fee.
£0 entry for the main permanent collections. It's phenomenal. This density of truly world-class, top-tier culture, all available for free, allows anyone, even on the tightest budget, to have several absolutely brilliant, culturally rich days without spending a penny on admission fees.
That's a massive counterweight to the high cost of, say, accommodation or food. You could literally fill 3 or 4 days just with incredible free museums.
Easily. It's the absolute bedrock of a budget-conscious London strategy. Now, there's one small caveat we should mention.
Always a catch. What is?
While the main collections are free, if there's a special temporary exhibition on within one of these museums, a big blockbuster show focused on a specific artist or theme.
Like that Vermeer exhibition they had recently.
Exactly like that. Those special exhibitions almost always require a separate paid ticket. And they can be quite pricey, often £20, £25 or more, and usually need booking well in advance.
Okay, so main gallery's free. Special shows paid. Got it. So this amazing free core means that if we do want to use an attraction pass or just buy individual tickets, we only really need to focus on the big ticket paid attractions, right?
Precisely. You don't need a pass that covers things that are already free. You target the pass or your a la carte spending specifically on those iconic landmarks that do charge significant entry fees.
So which ones are the main culprits, the ones that really cost a fair bit?
The big ones, the ones that command maybe 25 to 40 pounds per person for entry, are generally these. The Tower of London, that's almost always top of people's lists.
Yeah.
Westminster Abbey, again, hugely popular. St. Paul's Cathedral. The Churchill War Rooms, fascinating place. And for views, the view from the Shard is also up there in price.
Right. Just hitting 2 or 3 of those could easily cost you £700 per person right there.
Exactly. Those are the ones you need a plan for. Either factor them into your budget individually or see if they fit onto a pass, which we'll discuss next.
Okay. But even the free museums, they're not without their challenges, are they? I'm thinking crowds.
Oh, absolutely. Free doesn't mean empty. Especially the British Museum and the National Gallery. They get incredibly busy. So a key bit of practical advice here is about timing.
Go early.
Definitely go early if you can. Be there right when the doors open, usually around 10 a.m. That first hour, maybe 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. if they open earlier, is often your best bet for seeing the really famous stuff before the main crowds descend. Also, check their websites. Many of the big museums have late opening nights, maybe once a week, often on a Friday. Those can sometimes be a bit calmer, too.
Good tip. Avoid midday queues. Okay, moving beyond museums. London equals theater for a lot of people. The West End. It's iconic. But those tickets, they can cost as much as a hotel night sometimes.
They really can, especially for the big hit musicals on a Saturday night. But there are definitely ways to access world-class theater without completely destroying your budget. You just need to know the tricks.
Okay, spill the secrets. How do we get cheaper theater tickets?
Right, there's a whole ecosystem for discounts. First, there's the official TKTS booth right in the middle of Leicester Square. They sell discounted tickets for same-day and sometimes next-day performances. You have to queue, but you can get good deals. Okay, the TKTS booth. What else? Then there are digital options. Apps and websites like TodayTix are brilliant. They offer general discounts, but also run things like daily rush tickets or lotteries for really popular shows, where you can sometimes snag front row seats for maybe 25, 30 pounds if you're lucky.
Rush tickets and lotteries. Worth a shot.
Definitely. You need to be flexible, but the savings can be huge.
And does when you go make a difference, like weekday versus weekend?
Oh, massively. Midweek performances, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and especially matinees, afternoon shows, are almost always cheaper than Friday or Saturday evenings. If you're flexible on the day and time, you'll find much better prices. Patience and flexibility are your best friends when theater budgeting.
Good to know. Avoid primetime Saturday night unless you're ready to splurge. Okay, lastly for this section, what about just soaking up the atmosphere? Free things to do that are really worthwhile.
Loads. London is fantastic for just walking and exploring. My top recommendation is always the South Bank Walk.
Where does that run?
You can start right down by Westminster Bridge, get your photos of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, then just walk east along the river. You pass the London Eye, the National Theatre, the Tate Modern, Shakespeare's Globe, all the way down towards Tower Bridge.
Great views, lots to see.
Fantastic views, loads of free street performers sometimes, buzzing atmosphere. It's hours of entertainment for free.
Excellent. And you mentioned markets earlier for food. They fit here too, right?
Absolutely. Markets like Borough Market near London Bridge or maybe Broadway Market out in Hackney, more local vibe, are not just for cheap eats. They are destinations in themselves.
Yeah.
Wandering through Borough Market, seeing all the amazing produce, grabbing some incredible street food for lunch, that's a brilliant, relatively low cost, and very London experience.
Great. So combine the free museums with smart walking routes and market lunches. You can build a really rich itinerary without constantly opening your wallet.
That's exactly the strategy.
Right. We've got the costs, the transit mastery, the mix of free and paid activities. Now we need to put it all together strategically. And the big question that always comes up, those tourist passes, the London Pass, the Explorer Pass, are they actually worth the money?
Yes, the pass math. It's a calculation every visitor needs to do based on their own plans. It's definitely not a simple yes or no.
Okay, let's break them down. There seem to be 2 main types. The London Pass, which is based on time, and the Explorer Pass, which is based on the number of attractions.
Exactly. Let's start with the London Pass. You buy it for a set number of consecutive days, 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever. During that time, you get entry into a whole list of included attractions.
Sounds convenient, but is it good value?
It can be, but only, and this is the crucial part, only if you are planning to be incredibly active and visit a lot of the expensive paid attractions included on the pass very quickly. Like you need to be hitting 2 or maybe even 3 major paid sites per day for it to really pay off.
2 or 3 paid sites a day, that sounds
It
intense.
is. You have to treat sightseeing almost like a military operation to maximize the value of a time-based pass like the London Pass. Let's run some quick numbers to
I-
illustrate.
A one-day London pass costs, what, around £80 for an adult in 2025?
Roughly, yeah, give or take. So to make that £80 worthwhile, think about the individual entry costs. Tower of London is about £30, Westminster Abbey maybe £27, St. Paul's around £23, Churchill War Room is about £27, the Shard View maybe £35.
Right, so if I just visit the Tower of London, £30, and maybe St. Paul's, £23 in one day, that's 53 total if I paid individually.
Exactly. In that case, the £80 would have cost you 27 more than just buying those tickets separately. You've lost money.
So to even break even on that £80 pass, I'd need to do, say, the Tower, £30, Westminster Abbey, 20-some towels, and maybe squeeze in the Churchill War Rooms, 27 towns, all in the same day. That's $84 value.
Precisely. You need to be that aggressive. If your plan is more relaxed, like visiting one big paid site in the morning and then spending the afternoon at the Free National Gallery, the London Pass is almost certainly going to be a waste of money for you.
Because so many of the best museums are free anyway.
That's the key takeaway.
Yeah.
Because London offers such an incredible free cultural core, most average travelers who mix paid sites with free ones will likely save more money simply buying individual tickets online in advance for the 1 or 2 specific paid attractions they really want to see, rather than buying an expensive pass that pressures them into rushing around.
Okay, so the London Pass is really only for the hyperactive sightseer aiming for multiple expensive entries daily. What about the other type, the Explorer Pass?
Right, the Explore Pass is different. It's choice-based. You buy a pass that gives you entry to, say, 3, 4, 5, or 7 attractions from a list. And you typically have 60 days to use those credits.
So much more flexible. No need to rush.
Much more flexible. This is often a better fit for people who know they want to see maybe 3 or 4 specific expensive sites like the Tower, the Abbey, the War Rooms, maybe a river cruise, but want to spread them out over their trip, mixing them in with free museum days or just exploring.
Less pressure, potentially better value if you pick the high-cost option.
Generally, yes. You still need to do the maths, add up the individual costs of the attractions you want to see, and compare it to the Explore Pass price for that number of choices. But for many people, it strikes a better balance between savings and flexibility than the all-or-nothing London Pass.
Okay, pass math done.
Yeah.
Let's circle back to food quickly. We know markets are key for lunch. What are the other top tactics for keeping dining costs down?
Right. Hierarchy of food savings. Number 1, as we said. Self-catering for breakfast. Even just cereal bars in your room helps. And using markets or supermarkets for lunch. That's the biggest win.
Non-negotiable for budget mid-range. What's next?
Second, be selective about dinner. Don't feel you need a proper restaurant meal every single night. Maybe book just 1 or 2 really nice dinners midweek as a treat, rather than every night.
Okay. Any other tricks?
Yes. A great value hack, especially if you're thinking about theater, is pre-theater menus. Loads of restaurants in the West End area offer special fixed-price menus, usually 2 or 3 courses, typically served between about 5 p.m. and 7 p.m.
Aimed at people needing to eat before a show starts.
Exactly. They're designed for speed, but often the food is excellent quality and the price is significantly lower than ordering the same dishes a la carte later in the evening. It's a fantastic way to get a high-quality meal for less.
Pre-theater menus. Good tip. And what about pubs? They're such a big part of London culture. How do they fit into the value picture?
Pubs are brilliant on several levels. Culturally, they're essential. Socially, they're the heart of many neighborhoods. And financially, they can offer great value, especially if you look for daily specials or set lunch menus.
Cheaper than restaurants generally.
Often, yes. A good pub lunch can be very reasonable, and things like a Sunday roast in a pub are a classic London experience, and usually pretty filling and good value. Plus, drinks are generally cheaper in a pub than in a dedicated bar or restaurant. Just maybe try and find pubs slightly off the absolute main tourist drags for slightly better prices and a more local feel.
Use pubs for culture and cost saving. Nice. Okay, finally, let's loop back to accommodation strategy. We established zone 1 or 2 is probably best overall. Any other booking tips?
Timing is key, as always. If you have flexibility, aim for the shoulder season spring, April, May, or autumn, September, October. The weather can still be decent, but prices for flights and hotels are generally lower than peak summer.
And traveling midweek helps too.
Definitely. Hotels are almost always busier and pricier on Friday and Saturday nights. If you can structure your stay to be mainly Sunday to Thursday, you'll often find better rates and availability.
And when booking, what should we prioritize?
book ahead, especially for popular times. And I'd strongly recommend booking cancelable rates where possible, even if they cost slightly more. Plans change. Having flexibility is valuable. Location-wise, as we said, aim for zone 1 or 2, and specifically, look for places near a really frequent and useful tube line.
Like which ones?
Lines like the Piccadilly, especially if coming from Heathrow, the Jubilee, the Victoria, or the Central Line are fantastic because they cut across the city quickly and connect lots of key areas. Being a short walk from one of those lines saves you huge amounts of time.
So the extra cost for a well-located hotel near a good tube line in Zone 12, you're basically buying back time and guaranteeing that cheap daily transit cap works for you.
That's exactly it. You're paying that Zone 1-2 premium, not necessarily for a fancier room, but for maximum time efficiency and guaranteed access to that £8.90 daily travel cap. It's a strategic investment.
Okay, all this theory is great, but sometimes it helps to see it in action. Let's try and sketch out a possible 4-day itinerary, something concrete that shows how you blend the free stuff, the paid stuff, the markets, and leverage that transit cap. Let's assume we're aiming for that mid-range budget, around £150 a day, and we'll factor in maybe one big paid entry every couple of days, plus that £8.90 daily travel cost.
Great idea. A practical example makes it much clearer. Okay, let's plan a hypothetical 4-day mid-range trip. Day 1, let's focus on history and royalty. We'll start with a major paid anchor, Westminster Abbey. It's iconic, definitely worth the entry fee, which is around $27. We absolutely pre-book a timed entry slot online to skip the worst queues.
Okay, $27 spent first thing. How do we balance the budget for the rest of the day?
We immediately follow it with free activities nearby. A lovely walk through St. James's Park, maybe see the pelicans, then walk over to see Buckingham Palace from the outside, watching the changing of the guard if the timing works out, which is free.
Nice. Free park, free palace viewing.
Then maybe hop on the tube using our capped contactless card over to Trafalgar Square. Spend the afternoon exploring the National Gallery. Totally free, world-class art.
Okay, so the only entry cost so far is the Abbey.
Exactly. For the evening, maybe tube over to Soho. Instead of an expensive sit-down dinner, we grab something delicious and cheaper from a street food stall or find a pub doing a decent meal deal. Total cost for activities and transport today is well under £40, 27 Abbey plus £8 in Gap, leaving plenty within that £150 budget for food and accommodation share.
Smart. Balances the big spend with lots of free value. Okay, day 2. Let's hit another icon.
Day 2. Let's tackle the Tower of London. Another must-see, another significant entry fee, around £30, £33. Again, pre-book online.
Right, another £30 plus hit. How do we absorb that?
We stack it with high-value, low-cost things nearby. After spending the morning exploring the tower, we walk across the iconic Tower Bridge. Walking across is free, unlike the paid Tower Bridge experience.
Good distinction. Free walk, great views.
Then, for lunch, it's a short walk to Borough Market. We grab an amazing, high-quality lunch from one of the stalls, way better value than a tourist trap restaurant nearby. The afternoon is spent exploring the Tate Modern again, completely free entry for the main collection.
Tower, bridge walk, market lunch, free modern art. Busy day.
It is. And we finish it with maybe a walk along the South Bank as the sun sets, enjoying the river views and atmosphere. Again, transit is capped at £8.90. We've had a massive day, seen an iconic paid site, but balanced it carefully with free activities and a value lunch.
Excellent. That shows really good clustering, doing the paid thing, then exploring the free stuff right next to it. Okay, day 3. Maybe time for that theater splurge.
Good idea. Day 3. Let's make this day about using the free culture to pay for the evening's entertainment. We dedicate the entire morning to the British Museum. It's vast, it's free, though we still pre-book a free time slot online to ease entry. You can spend all day there, frankly.
But we won't because we have theater plans.
Exactly. After a cheap and cheerful lunch near the museum, maybe we wander through Covent Garden, enjoy the street performers there, free entertainment.
Okay.
Then we focus on getting our theater tickets. We've hopefully used Today Tix, or TKTS, to snag a deal for either a matinee or an evening show.
So the ticket might still cost, say, £40, £60, even with a discount.
Probably, yes. It's still a splurge. But because the entire rest of the day is cultural activity, British Museum, Covent Garden wandering, costs £0, and our transit is capped at £8.90, we can absorb that theater cost within our daily budget much more easily. Dinner tonight is maybe a quick post-theater bite or a late-night pub meal.
Makes sense. The free museum basically subsidizes the theater ticket in the day's budget. Okay, last day, day 4. What's a good way to round it off?
Day 4. Let's use the transport system for a slightly different feel. Maybe head out to Greenwich. It feels like a little escape from the central buzz. We can take the DLR, Docklands Light Railway, Out there, crucially, the DLR is part of the TfL network and uses the same capping system.
Ah, so the trip out there still counts towards our £8.90 daily cap.
Yes, as long as you stay within the zones covered by your cap. Greenwich is Zone 23, so covered by a Zone 1-2 cap if you travel through Zone 1. Alternatively, you could take a Thames Clipper riverboat that costs extra, maybe 8–10 pounds, but it's a very scenic ride. Your choice, depending on budget.
Okay, so we get to Greenwich. What's there?
Lots. You can visit the Royal Observatory, home of the Prime Meridian Line. Small entry fee around 15–18 pounds. Explore the grounds of Greenwich Park. Free, amazing views back to the city. Wander through Greenwich Market for lunch or souvenirs. See the Cutty Sark ship. Paid entry if you want to go on board.
So a mix of paid and free again.
Exactly. And on the way back, maybe take the DLR via Canary Wharf to see all the modern skyscrapers. Just hop off, wander around, hop back on. It's a different side of London architecture. Again, keeps the costs controlled while offering a change of scenery.
Brilliant. So that itinerary really shows how you can have a packed, varied trip hitting major icons, seeing world-class free museums, enjoying markets and walks, even fitting in theater, all while keeping that budget somewhere around that 150–200 pounds mid-range, thanks to careful planning and leveraging the free stuff and transit caps.
That's the goal. Avoid that accidental slide towards the £1,500 trip cost.
Okay, we've crunched the numbers, we've dissected the transit system, we've looked at the activities, the passes, and even walked through a sample plan. Time to bring it all together. The big question we started with.
The ultimate verdict.
Is London actually worth that premium price tag in 2025? What's the final word?
The final word is yes. Unquestionably, yes. London is worth the premium.
But. I sense a but coming.
But it comes with a very important condition. It's worth it specifically for travelers who are focused on its incredible cultural offerings and who are willing to plan meticulously. You have to engage with those two levers we talked about, the free museum core and the transit fare capping.
So it's not worth it if you just show up expecting cheap hotels and bargain meals everywhere?
No, definitely not. The value isn't in finding rock-bottom prices across the board. The value lies in that unique combination. The unparalleled density of free world-class experiences, coupled with an efficient transport system that, if used correctly, allows you to access all of it affordably.
If you ignore the free museums or you mess up the tube capping and pay maximum fares, then the value proposition falls apart pretty quickly.
It evaporates. Yeah. The whole equation flips against you. Thoughtful, informed planning isn't just helpful in London. It's pretty much the prerequisite for getting good value.
Got it. London rewards the planner. Okay, let's hammer home those key takeaways. The absolute must-remember numbers and strategies for anyone listening who's now thinking about booking. Rapid-fire recap.
Right. Key takeaways. Per day spend. You need a target. Aim for £700 if you're doing serious budget travel, hostels, markets. Aim for £150–200 if you want a more comfortable mid-range trip. Decent hotel, some paid sites, some meals out. And remember, the average visitor often drifts above £175 without a plan.
Okay, best transit setup. What's the non-negotiable?
Use a contactless card or device. Phone pay works great. Stick primarily to zones 1 and 2. Know the £8.90 daily cap for those zones. Be very skeptical about the £44.70 weekly cap unless your trip fits that Monday-Sunday window perfectly. And crucially, avoid card clash by only presenting one payment method to the reader. Isolate your chosen card or device.
Right. One card, tap carefully. And pass utility. London Pass, Explorer Pass.
Only consider the time-based London Pass if you are genuinely planning to visit 2–3 expensive included attractions per day. It demands a fast pace. The choice-based Explorer Pass is often better for more relaxed trips if you want to visit a select few high-cost sites. But for many, many travelers, the best value comes from relying on the free museums and buying a la carte tickets online in advance for just the 1 or 2 paid icons they absolutely can't miss.
Don't buy a pass just because it exists. Do the math for your specific plans.
Always do the math.
Okay. So London demands a bit of homework, a bit of discipline, but the payoff is access to some of the most incredible cultural experiences anywhere on Earth, potentially without bankrupting yourself.
That's the deal. Plan smart, and London delivers amazing value.
All right, before we wrap up, just a couple of quick operational reminders from all that.
Yes. 2 things. Remember to always tap in and tap out with the same card device for every tube journey to make the capping work. And pre-book timed entry slots online wherever possible, even for the free museums. It saves so much queuing time and potential hassle.
Consistency and pre-booking buys you time and peace of mind. Okay, great practical tips. Now let's leave you with a final thought to chew on, something that builds on everything we've discussed. We spent a lot of time talking about mastering London's internal transit system, using those caps to keep costs predictable within zones 1 and 2.
Right, that mastery gives you control and financial freedom within the city boundaries.
But one of London's other great strengths is its role as a transport hub, right? The ease with which you can get out of London on day trips or longer journeys is incredible.
Absolutely. You've got fantastic rail links to places steeped in history and culture. Windsor, Oxford, Cambridge, Bath, Brighton, all relatively easy train rides away.
But as soon as you step onto one of those trains heading out of the city,
You leave the comforting embrace of the £8.90 daily cap behind you. You're onto National Rail with its completely different and often much higher pricing structure.
so the planning challenge just shifts, doesn't it? Once you've optimized your travel within London.
The very next strategic question becomes, how do you optimize your travel beyond London? How much time and, crucially, money are you prepared to invest in booking those advanced train tickets, maybe getting a rail card, dealing with fixed departure times, just to explore the rest of the UK?
That transition from the predictable TfL capping system to the more complex and costly national rail network is the next frontier for the strategic UK traveler.
Hmm.
How do you manage that budget effectively once London's transit magic runs out at the zone boundary?
Something to think about for the next trip, perhaps.
An excellent thought to end on. Optimize London first, then tackle the outward journey. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.
Safe travels, plan well, and happy capping.